It is from the wonderful and very historical island of Le Mont-Saint-Michel in the west of Normandy that I welcome you to Taste Le Tour 2016. I am Gabriel Gatté. What a magic start to this celebration of the beauty and gastronomy of the regions of this year's Tour de France. This wonderful journey of taste discovery will take me to some colorful markets. I will visit stunning hilltop villages, meet some of France's most talented chefs, and toast the art of French living with a glass or two of the local drops. People come to the Mont-Saint-Michel from all around the world to visit the abbey, but also to taste the great specialty of the restaurant La Mère Poulard. I am hoping that Alain Grespier, the chef de cuisine, will give me the recipe of the legendary omelette created here in 1888 by Annette Poulard.
Je ne pourrais pas vous donner la recette parce que c'est un secret, mais elle est composée de plein de secrets. Le bois, la poêle qu'on utilise, le beurre de micelle bien sûr, qui lui donne un goût.
The long musical beating of the foamy secret mixture is blissfully fascinating. The cooking on the wood fire is admirably conducted by the experienced omelette cook who skillfully plates the soufflé-like concoction. To celebrate this stunning piece of gourmet theatre, I indulge in a glass of Normandy apple cider. My omelette arrives, garnished with local lobster and wood mushrooms. It is a memorable experience. Merci, Madame Poulard. The coastal area around the Mont-Saint-Michel is so flat that several times a year during the very high tides, it all gets flooded. The resulting salty fields are an ideal ground for the local sheep to graze. It results in one of the tastiest lamb in France. This tender rack of lamb with sweet spring vegetables is a special treat. I brush some lamb with olive oil, season with black pepper and freshly cut rosemary. I cook some broad beans in boiling water for 1 minute. Leave them into cold water and pop them out of their skin. Broad beans are one of my favorite vegetables and it goes so well with lamb. I boil a few baby carrots for 2 minutes, add some peas, then after 5 minutes, a few asparagus tips. Once all is cooked and drained, I add the cooked broad beans, a knob of butter, salt and pepper, and about 10 tarragon leaves. I brown the racks in an oven-proof pan and roast in the oven at 150 degrees for about 10 minutes. Once cooked, I rest the meat covered for 5 minutes. I serve the cut lamb cutlets over the spring vegetables and spoon the tarragon-flavored juices over the meat. Voilà, a delicious taste of Normandy, carré d'agneau rôti, légumes printaniers. Tomorrow I spend a second day in Normandy to taste the local seafood and the very delicious batter. This is Barfleur, one of the most beautiful and charming villages on the coast of Normandy. The region is dotted with many fishing ports, and the quality of the seafood from the cool North Atlantic waters has helped make the cuisine of Normandy one of the most celebrated in France. I am at the Vivier fish shop in the coastal city of Cherbourg. Every small town in Normandy has a good fish shop where everything is very fresh and mostly locally caught. The selection of fine fish is outstanding, but this place is famous for its wide variety of exotic shellfish that the French love so much. The turtle crabs, the sea spiders and the lobsters are great delicacies for special occasions. I am very tempted by these oysters bearing the names of the nearby villages that farm them. I also love these large sea snails called bulots in French and whelks in English. Local fisherman Guillaume Lenoir invited me on his fishing boat to show me his catch.
Alors, je pêche le bulot depuis une vingtaine d'années dans les eaux Grand Villez, dans l'ouest Cotentin. Le bulot se pêche au casier à une profondeur à peu près de 25 mètres. On a un quota journalier de 900 kg jour et 5 jours semaine.
I could live in this lovely fishing port. On a restaurant terrace nearby the port, these whelks, simply cooked in salted water, flavored with thyme and served with mayonnaise, are the best I've ever tasted. Yum! This scallop mousse with a prawn sauce is a really delicate French seafood dish. I first blend some scallops to a smooth puree. I blend in 2 eggs and 100 ml of cream. Then I spoon the mousse into battered individual soufflé molds and pour some hot water around the molds in a baking dish. The hot water creates a bain-marie which allows a more gentle and even cooking of the mousse. I bake the mousse in the preheated oven at 140 degrees for 20 minutes. Next, I saute 8 prawn shells in olive oil in a pan with a sliced shallot, some fennel seeds, garlic, diced tomato, dry white wine, and a pinch of chili. After 5 minutes, I add 100 ml of cream. I then cook 8 prawns cut into pieces in the strained sauce. I spoon the prawn sauce and prawn pieces on top and around the unmolded mousse. I like to sprinkle a few cut chives on top of this really delicious mousseline de Coquille Saint-Jacques sauce crevette. The green pastures of Normandy are rich in nutrients, and the Normandy cow's breed provides some of the most flavorsome milk in the world. Sylvie Groult, a local organic farmer, first transformed a cow's milk into a superb cream that she churns into an amazing batter.
So smooth French batter. It is something else.
Tomorrow we arrive in my beautiful native region of Anjou to taste the local specialties. This is the magnificent royal chateau of Angers in my native region of Anjou in the Loire Valley. What a joy it is for me to be back at the large Saturday farmers market. The local white asparagus, shallots and lamb lettuce are well-known specialties, while the strawberries taste as delicious as in my youth. The Anjou region produces some of France's best value wines. The star, made with white grape, is Chenin Blanc, that the rest of the world has a difficulty to match in finesse.
This is the beautiful Chenin Blanc, the wine of my youth.
I can't visit Angers without tasting the chocolate specialty of Kernon d'Ardoise, made with toffee hazelnuts and almonds, coated with white chocolate, colored in blue to look like the local elegant roof slates.
Crunchy caramelized nuts covered with chocolate. Heaven.
This strawberry tart with pistachio nuts is so fine. I first rolled out some sweet pastry. Line a lift-out flan tin with the pastry, top with foil and pastry weight to prevent the pastry from shrinking. I like to bake it in the oven at 180 degrees for about 20 minutes. I next make a crème chantilly by beating 1 tablespoon of Cointreau, 30 ml of milk and 300 ml of crème fraîche until light, and mix in 2 tablespoons of icing sugar. I carefully spread this chantilly cream over the cool pastry shell, and top generously with strawberry halves, and brush the berries lightly with apricot jam. It is now fashionable to sprinkle chopped pistachio nuts around the edge. Here is one of the most popular French desserts, tarte aux fraises et aux pistaches. The beautiful and world-famous liqueur of Cointreau was created and is made in the city of Angers. I have enjoyed the orange liqueur from this iconic bottle all my life and used it in many desserts, so I am thrilled to finally visit the distillery with my host Corinne Lava.
So Cointreau is made of the distillation of both sweet and bitter orange peel. This is what brings to Cointreau this perfect balance. You can drink it either neat, on ice, or on cocktails.
I love the idea of learning to make simple, no-fuss, refreshing cocktails. Maud, my cocktail teacher, fills 3 glasses with ice, adds 50 ml of Cointreau, and tops with a little sparkling water and the juice of half a lime. This makes a delicious, fruity, and zesty base. One cocktail is flavored with 2 slices of cucumber and a crushed basil leaf. The next with the pulp of half a passion fruit and 3 little pieces of ginger. And the third with strawberry pieces and crushed mint. I love them all, they're all very delicious, but because we're in Anjou, my choice goes for the strawberry and mint. That is good. Tomorrow we arrive in the attractive city of Limoges, famous for its great beef and porcelain. This is the very attractive old butcher's quarters of the great city of Limoges. We are in the Limousin region, well known for its breed of Limousin beef that is easily recognizable by its lovely chocolate brown robe. I am visiting Les Halles de Limoges, the classic covered market, to investigate one of the world's great grass-fed beef. All the butchers take pride in selling the local beef that has got fine marbling, superb flavor, and very tender. François Lebrun's boucherie is famous for the quality of its veal and beef. The butchers are busy separating and trimming the different cuts. I like the look of the porterhouse, a cut that has a good balance of flavor and tenderness. Nearby the market, at the restaurant The Cheverny, I can't resist tasting one of the steak dishes. It is the best steak I have had so far this year. A jarret de bœuf aux carottes. This slow-cooked shin of beef with carrots is amazing and a popular farm dish. I first brown a piece of trimmed shin of beef for a few minutes, then place it in a cast iron pan. Then I add diced bacon, onion, carrot and celery, some garlic and 1 clove, and cook for a few minutes. Of course, the quality of the meat is very important, but what makes a difference in a dish like this is the vegetables, the different flavors, the aromatics of the vegetables and the herbs. The addition of 1 tablespoon of flour and 1 tablespoon of tomato paste is necessary for color and texture. I then mix 100 ml of dry white wine. You can use red if you wish. Then I stir in 1 cup of strong beef stock. Everything goes in with the beef shin, as well as a bouquet garni and a little salt and pepper. I cover with foil and a lid and cook in the oven at 120 degrees for 3 hours. It's good to turn the meat over once or twice. The vegetable is carrot and it's cooked in the pot for 40 minutes or until the meat is tender. Serve all together, or you may strain the sauce if you wish. C'est magnifique. Great French chefs understand the effect that a plate has on the diner's level of enjoyment. A dish tastes better on a fine plate. Limoges is known for its superb porcelain, and since 1863, Bernardo has been one of its outstanding producers. I am taken around the splendid factory studio by my host Ségolène Dufresne.
Bernardo fournit de la porcelaine pour la table et pour les chefs de grands restaurants ou de grands hôtels. Et ils peuvent également nous demander de créer des formes spéciales en fonction de recettes qu'ils mettent en place.
Stéphane Bonneau is the creative master who guides the team of skilled artisans. It's a privilege to watch the artists at work, focusing and concentrating to create exquisite crockery for the pleasures of our senses.
Tomorrow I will be in the village of Salers in the Auvergne region to taste a great cheese. It is with great pleasure that I say bonjour from Salers, one of the most beautiful French villages in the region of Auvergne.
At an altitude of almost 1,000 meters, this medieval hilltop stronghold, built with volcanic stones, is a well-known gourmet destination. Auvergne has a fine reputation for charcuterie, especially the pork salamis, flavored with local ingredients like wild mushrooms and hazelnuts. It is an opportunity for me to taste gentiane, an aperitif made from the maceration of yellow gentiane roots.
It's one of the most bitter liqueur, but absolutely love it.
The cattle breed named after the village is not only famous for its tasty meat, but above all for its spring to autumn milk, used to make a very, very good cheese, also called Salers. A visit to La Cave de Salers, where Dominique Varlet looks after the big local cheeses until mature, brings no regrets.
Les producteurs, le Salers, c'est une appellation exclusivement fermière.
Dominique matures the wheels on wooden planks.
On va les retourner une fois par semaine et les essuyer à l'aide d'une toile de jute.
The cheeses are aged for at least 3 months and up to 18 months and tested at different stages of maturation. It is my lucky day. Dominique gives me a taste of one of his best.
Mais sinon, après, c'est un fromage qui est très bien. Ça a un peu de goût de fruits secs, de nectarine.
At the village hotel restaurant Le Bailliage, chef Jean-Marie Gouzon prepares a very regional cuisine. The truffade is a dish of sautéed potatoes in which some freshly made cheese is added. His dish of Salers beef eye fillet is accompanied with local wild mushrooms and the truffade. And naturally, in this region, a meal is never complete without a plateau de fromage. This is my paradise.
This recipe of duck fillet with wild mushrooms and a green peppercorn sauce is a classic. First, I drop 2 cups of a variety of wild mushrooms in boiling water for 3 minutes. Next, I cook 2 seasoned duck fillets, skin side down, for about 8 minutes. Then turn the fillets over and cook for a further 2 minutes. In a small pan, I stir chopped shallots for a minute before adding the mushrooms. After a few minutes, I add a chopped clove of garlic and 2 tablespoons of parsley.
This is my favorite way of eating wild mushrooms, and with the duck, it's just out of this world.
I transfer the duck fillets to a plate with the cooking juices. Add 2 teaspoons of green peppercorn to the pan, then a tablespoon of cognac and half a cup of strong beef stock. I then stir in some cream and boil the creamy sauce until it thickens a bit. I serve the mushrooms on plates, top with the sliced duck fillets, and spoon the sauce over the meat. This filet de canard au cèpe sauce au poivre vert is one of the most popular French dishes. Tomorrow I am in Conques, another very beautiful village, to meet a talented chef. This is the magnificent village of Conques in the Midi-Pyrenees, and it is really one of the most beautiful villages I have ever visited.
It is close by the splendid Romanesque Abbey church that I find a boulangerie to discover its specialities. The crustade aux pommes, a caramelized honey and apple pie, is hard to resist. The concaise is a shortbread walnut biscuit named after the village. The rissole au pruneau is a fruity turnover that makes good use of the local prunes. This classy gourmet iced coffee dessert with prunes soaked in Armagnac is worth the effort, but requires a little experience to prepare. I first cut 15 prunes in half and mix gently with 50 ml of Armagnac.
Cutting the prunes in half allows the Armagnac to be absorbed better by the prunes. It's a marriage made in heaven.
I then make a syrup by cooking sugar and water together until it takes on a light yellow tinge. I'll place 6 egg yolks in a mixing bowl. And while beating, pour the syrup in bit by bit. It needs to be beaten for about 10 minutes until creamy and cold. Gently, I mix in 1 teaspoon of coffee essence and the macerated prunes and fold in 300 ml of whipped cream before transferring to a mold and freezing for at least 8 hours. The fun part is to dip the mold in warm water to turn out the parfait. I like to garnish it with crystallized violets, a specialty of Toulouse, and a few extra prunes soaked in Armagnac. Yum, for adults only. Down the village, on the bank of the fast-flowing river Dourdou, a beautiful restaurant serves a great contemporary regional cuisine. Hervé Busset, the owner chef, is very passionate about his region and what nature has to offer. He takes me above the village on his daily foraging of wild herbs and wildflowers. He first collects plantain's leaf, one of his favorite herbs of the moment.
Avec quoi tu l'utilises?
J'utilise avec la pentable parce que c'est un léger goût de champignon et j'aime bien.
On the slopes facing the sun, the wild violets are plentiful. In 20 minutes, Hervé has collected at least 8 different herbs and flowers. Back at the restaurant, I am offered a taste of the beautiful local 18-month-old Lyall cheese that he selected himself.
Oui, là on sent qu'il a... Alors je sers avec un sorbet roquette.
Hervé's dishes are simple but elegant. His asparagus panna cotta, served with raw, shaved tender baby asparagus, is brilliant. The just poached goose liver pâté, garnished with wild sorrel, is a memorable taste experience. The local Aveyron white wine, a blend of Chardonnay and Gewürztraminer, is surprisingly good. The feast continues with a parpadelle, brilliantly made with local trout. Next comes a perfect minty lamb dish. The dessert of chestnut ice cream with mandarin and a meringue flavored with herbs confirms that this place is heavenly.
Tomorrow I am going further south to have a taste of Armagnac. It is my first visit to the great old town of Auch at the gate of the Pyrenees.
The area is called the Gers, named after its main river, and is famous for breeding ducks for the production of foie gras, a duck liver pâté, one of the most popular traditional French delicacies. In the village of Saint-Martin, the population doubles on market day when the local farmers come to sell their goods to the rural community. The biggest attraction is the Marché au Gras, a room where the small producers sell the prized duck livers as well as the large duck and even larger goose carcasses. There is much negotiation happening. The livers are expensive and often brought by restaurateurs, while the duck meat is very good value. This man paid 15 euros for a whole beast. Local beans are a common accompaniment to the duck dishes, but they're also much loved with the very good local lamb meat. This hearty bean and lamb stew is a perfect winter warmer and easy to prepare for a family. I first cook a little bacon and chop thyme in batter. Then I brown about 1 kilogram of pieces of lamb meat all over for a few minutes before adding a diced brown onion and cook the onion for a few minutes.
My preferred cut for this dish is from the lamb shoulder.
I then add about a quarter of a glass of dry white wine and 2 diced tomatoes. Cover with foil and a lid and cook on low heat for about 2 hours until the meat is tender.
Many years ago, this dish would cook all day in the fireplace. It's good to stir the stew a couple of times to make sure that the sauce doesn't catch.
I add 400 grams of drained cooked white beans to reheat with the meat. Then I transfer the stew to a gratin dish. I sprinkle the top with chopped parsley and top generously with breadcrumbs. Then I place the dish on the hot grill for a few minutes until golden brown. It's so tasty and satisfying. The pistache de mouton is a great family dish. Only a few kilometers from Auch, I stop at Michel Bailhac, a winery that makes red and white wines, but also produces an excellent Armagnac. I am welcomed in the vineyard by Aurélie, a family member and winemaker.
We are in the Haut-Armagnac region. I am the 9th generation of winemaker. We make red wine and we make white wine with Colombard and Uni Blanc. There are 2 varieties that we use to make Armagnac. The white wine is then distilled with an alembic. The transparent Armagnac is put into oak barrel and the oak gives the color and all the different flavors.
The Armagnac matures in wood for at least 5 years, but longer produces finer Armagnacs.
On the palate it's very fruity. You have plums and quince aromas.
Tomorrow I will be in the famous city of Lourdes to discover the gourmet specialties of the Pyrenees. This is the sanctuary Notre-Dame of the very famous city of Lourdes in the Pyrenees.
Lourdes has been a place of hope and prayer for the very sick for over 150 years. 7 million pilgrims visit the rural town every year. Les Halles, the classic large covered market, has all the regional food specialties. L'Instant Fromage displays a great range of local mountain cheeses.
It is unique in France for the Pyrenees to make cheeses with cows, goat and sheep milk.
The farmhouse used milk fromage from the local valley d'Aussan is one of the best. The Greuil fromage blanc is a fresh, natural and delicate used milk cheese used in light desserts.
Oh, it is so delicious.
At the takeaway rotisserie stand, the plump, cooked free-range chicken are going fast. And I am surprised at the popularity of the hearty stew of duck heart, chicken liver and sautéed potato dish. This is real French rural cuisine. The Pyrenees charcuterie are amongst the finest in France. To differentiate themselves from supermarket offerings, skillful artisans, small good makers like the Bouquet family create new charcuterie to keep their clients.
This 6th generation charcutier has created a terrine with black pudding and chestnuts, and I'm told it's very delicious.
The house-made ham and the salamis are attractive and almost a family staple food, popular during long and cold winter months. At the Bistrot des Halles, at the edge of the market, I choose to taste the regional charcuterie plate. It comes with Pyrenees ham, a large salami called rosette, some chitterling sausage, some terrine, and some dry sausage with cornichon, batter, and baguette.
These charcuteries are really delicious, and I think it's probably the fresh air of the mountain that gives that special flavor.
A glass of the local dry white wine of Jurançon, made with Gros Mansang's grapes, is a delightful marriage.
This fruity dessert made with peaches and apricots stewed in the local sweet wine of Jurançon is out of this world. I first halve 4 apricots and quarter 4 peaches and remove the stones. I then place half a cup of orange juice, half a cup of sugar and 150 milliliters of sweet Jurançon wine in a pan. I add the fruit, bring the mix to a simmer and poach the peaches and apricot until soft. The ripe peaches, the apricot, the wine from Jurançon, all together, it is so luscious. I mix 100 grams of sweetened chestnut cream and 200 milliliters of whipped cream and transfer it to a piping bag. I carefully spoon the cold fruit into attractive glasses. I pipe some chestnut cream florets on top. Just before serving, I sprinkle the dessert with a few toasted almonds and dust it with icing sugar. This verrine de pêche et abricot au vin de Jurançon is a perfect summer dessert. Tomorrow I visit the Principality of Andorra to discover the gourmet specialties. Andorra la Vella nested high in the Pyrenees at the border of France and Spain. Just outside town, the valley of La Massana is magnificent. I am visiting Borda Raubert, a traditional Andorran restaurant. Dolors Pal, the owner chef, serves traditional dishes. A rustic pork charcuterie finds its way in many preparations. Her escudella soup made with vegetables, chicken, sausages, black pudding, chickpeas and pasta is a family favorite. The most classic specialty is trinchat.
Ça, c'est des pommes de terre avec des choux, avec un peu d'huile d'olive et de l'ail.
It is served with pieces of bacon and black pudding. The slow roasting lamb shoulders, seasoned with local herbs and Mediterranean vegetables, are so appetizing. In the dining room, the wood-fired grill creates warm feelings. Pyrenees lamb cutlets and fresh sausages are popular. I taste the roast lamb. It is so well cooked with wonderful flavors. My dessert is crema andorrana, a smooth and refreshing vanilla custard. A glass of homemade walnut liqueur makes me feel like an Andorran prince. I return to reality by walking along the stream, hoping to catch a trout with my eyes. This baked trout dish with herbs and bacon is a traditional classic of the region. I dry a freshly caught trout with kitchen pepper and place it on baking paper in a tray. Then I mix a little lemon thyme with salt, pepper and extra virgin olive oil, and I brush the trout outside and inside with the seasoning. Next, I fill the inside with 3 slices of lemon, 2 bay leaves, and 3 whole cloves of garlic, and bake the trout in a medium oven for about 30 minutes, and baste the fish with olive oil a few times. The key is to keep the fish moist and the oven must not be too hot. During the cooking, I finely dice an apple and place it in a bowl with the juice of half a lemon, 3 tablespoons of olive oil, 2 tablespoons of chopped walnuts, and a little salt and pepper. I then cook 2 diced rashers of bacon in a pan. Once the fish is cooked, I transfer it onto a large platter and spread the walnut and apple dressing on top, and I scatter the bacon pieces over the top. This truite rôtie aux herbes et lardons is a very special treat. My Andorran adventure continues in a 4-wheel drive to reach Borda Sabate 1944, a vineyard owned
by John Albert Faré Santore.
Tous nos vins, qui sont des vins organiques, et aussi on travaille avec la biodynamie.
The modern winery is very impressive, and I understand why his Rieslings have such a good reputation.
It's really a magnificent Riesling.
Tomorrow I discover a superb market in the small town of Revel, north of the Pyrenees. This is the magnificent market square of the small town of Revel, north of the Pyrenees.
The farmers' market has been here under a medieval roof and in the square for almost 700 years. It is one of the most loved markets in France. A snail farmer sells live snails, but also two different gourmet dishes ready to eat, one with garlic and herbs, and the other with salami and tomato.
Very nice.
Marion, a cook, sells an original variety of homemade jam and creates a new jam flavor every week. This week, she harvested wild dandelion flowers to concoct a delicious jelly with citrus fruits. The display from Mazzac, the local cheese producer, is tempting. They also create unique cheeses. It is my first ever taste of the soft, tasty washed wine Ribotin made with unpasteurized cow's milk.
Very flavorsome, very delicious.
We make the cheese ourselves and we collect the milk around here.
The famous saucisse de Toulouse that is grilled in summer and cooked in the cassoulet in winter.
The local baker's goods are selling like hotcakes. The crunchy croquants are fragile almond meringue biscuits enjoyed with coffee. The large oreillettes dusted with sugar are thin, crunchy fritters. The most popular family patisserie is the Pumpette, a lemon-flavored rectangle of sweet puff pastry decorated with the Occitan cross and traditionally garnished with apple puree. The large pans of prepared meals offer a most impressive variety of specialties from France, nearby Spain, and North Africa ready to take home. The bouillabaisse fish stew, the beef chick daube, the paella look inviting, but my lunch is already planned. Chef Bernard Aimes from the restaurant du Midi has prepared for me the famous cassoulet. It is a slow-cooked stew of local beans with tender, comfy pork belly, tasty, comfy duck legs, and pieces of the great local sausage.
One of the best dishes of regional French cuisine.
This rustic snail dish with spinach and walnut butter is appreciated by French people of all ages. In a bowl with butter, I add some chopped shallots, chopped garlic, chopped parsley, chopped walnuts, a little salt and pepper, and the juice of half a lemon. I combine this batter well with a fork, flatten it between 2 layers of baking paper, and place it on ice to harden. The idea is to chill the batter so it is easier for me to put it evenly on the snails. Next, I mix a little cream into 1 cup of cooked spinach. I spoon a little spinach into 4 gratin dishes and top each with 12 cooked snails. I cover the snails with a little herb butter and sprinkle generously with breadcrumbs. I like to bake it in a hot oven for about 5 minutes. These escargots au beurre d'herbe et de noix smell wonderful and taste even better.
Tomorrow we arrive in the magnificent town of Béziers to taste the specialties of the Languedoc-Roussillon. The magnificent old center of the Mediterranean town of Béziers in the Languedoc-Roussillon.
Here the sun shines a lot and vines have been cultivated for over 2,000 years. It's one of the largest wine regions in the world, growing over 40 different grape varieties.
This white wine made of Roussanne, Marsanne and Grenache Blanc is a good example of what they do in this region. It is fine, classy and very tasty.
The city of Béziers abounds in pastry specialties, and local pâtissier Patrick Cadelard is a proud ambassador of the famous delicious little pastry.
La coque Sainte Aphrodise a été créée en hommage à Sainte Aphrodise, donc notre sainte patronne de Béziers, qui a évangélisé la ville. Donc nous avons fait des petites brioches tout simplement qui sont accolées pour faire un partage, pour couper la coque et donner et partager.
Merci. It's very nice. It's a beautiful lemon flavor, so light. C'est très bon. Close by, in the classic covered market, the display of skillfully prepared poultry is impressive. La Gargodea restaurant is the market popular meeting place. I arrived just in time to witness chef Sébastien Mostaza prepare the chichoumet, a regional vegetable dish with peppered streaky bacon. The veggie stew is looking appetizing, and the cheerful chef encourages his clients to buy food at the market that he will cook for them for a little cost. I really like the idea. Béziers being only 12 kilometers from the Mediterranean Sea, I decide to look at the fishmonger's display of the catch of the day. There are lots of flavorsome tiny fishes and seafood typical of the region. I decide on some sardines that the fishmonger kindly cleans for me. Sébastien approves, and before I know, my sardines are on his hot grill. A few minutes later, my lunch is ready. I love the robust flavor of the vegetables. It matches my sardines superbly. The local Chardonnay is dry and satisfying. A fruity dessert would be a perfect finish. This Slasher's fruit salad is a perfect example of a modern French dessert. I first drop a mix of raspberries and strawberries into a bowl, then add the juice of 1 orange, half a lemon, and 2 tablespoons of sugar. I blend to a smooth puree, then strain it to eliminate the seeds.
Preparation is called a coulis, and for me it is one of the most extraordinary base for a fruit salad.
To add a magic touch, I stir in a local spirit made of grapes. Next, I drop plenty of large pitted cherries into the coulis, as well as some segments of perfectly ripe peaches. I love to serve this stunning looking, delicious salad de cerise au marc de Languedoc in a deep plate with a few toasted almonds scattered on top and dusted with icing sugar. Tomorrow we meet a great chef in the stunning region of the Luberon. This is the very charming Luberon region in the north of Provence. The Hôtel Le Phébus in the village of Joucas is home of Xavier Mathieu, one of the finest Provençal chefs. I caught up with Xavier as he was putting the final touches of his new summer menu.
Je fais une cuisine qui, je dirais, qui me ressemble, qui est ancrée dans mes origines. J'ai grandi dans le sud de la France et j'ai une éducation gustative de la cuisine méditerranéenne, en quête aussi de recettes traditionnelles provençales et certains plats plus personnels, plus créatifs.
Back in the kitchen, a young farmer delivers a basket of summer truffles.
Elles sont superbes. Ça, c'est le diamant noir de la Provence. Le diamant noir de la Provence. J'utilise beaucoup dans ma cuisine. Sans ce parfum de noisette, c'est magnifique. Merci, elles sont magnifiques, superbes.
Some of the truffles will be served with a risotto. A new asparagus dish is being tested, served with an asparagus sorbet. Xavier and his chefs discuss the dish with the restaurant manager and the sommelier. There is a conversation on the best plate to use for a new creation of red mallet with goose liver pâté. The pastry chef plates an old chocolate dessert novelty representing a forest ground. The chocolate log is full of chocolate ganache, cherries, and nutty bits. Very tempting. The chef approves a sweet vanilla omelette accompanied with red fruit trapped in a thin ice cream shell. Later, the maître d' practices the flaming in the dining room for my benefit.
This Provençal chicken and capsicum casserole with olives is a local family favorite.
First, I brown 8 chicken drumsticks in a little olive oil with 12 baby potatoes. Then stir in 2 tablespoons of fresh rosemary and 1 diced onion and a little salt and pepper and cook for a few minutes. I then transferred the preparation to an oven dish to bake in the oven at 180 degrees for about 20 minutes. Next, I drop 3 sliced capsicums in the pan and cook slowly for 20 minutes. For a contrast of textures and flavors, I like to use capsicums of different colors. I mix the cooked chicken and potatoes with the capsicums and garnish with black olives. This poulet au poivron et olives is very appetizing and my family loves it. Before leaving Provence, Xavier takes me to the Domaine de Père, a nearby Lubron vineyard, to taste a great rosé that was made specifically for his restaurant by vigneron Patricia Alexandre.
Patricia a fait ce vin pour moi parce que déjà, je pense, mais je sais qu'elle apprécie ma cuisine. La cuisine provençale, avec ce climat et ces parfums qu'on trouve en Provence.
C'est un très beau vin d'été.
On y retrouve bien évidemment une note de melon, de pêche, le marché provençal, des fruits de l'été. Que du bonheur.
Avec les amis.
Surtout avec les amis.
Voilà.
Cette nouvelle cuvée alors. Hein.
Oui. Tomorrow I am in the very beautiful Ardèche region to discover the local specialties. This is Le Pont d'Arc in the magnificent valley of the Ardèche River. This rustic region made world headlines in 1994 when a large grotto containing 30,000-year-old cave paintings of great significance was discovered. Superb replicas can be admired in the Caverne du Pont d'Arc. Horse meat and deer were already part of the regional diet of the time. Many hills are now covered with vineyards and chestnut trees, and the area is famous for making the delicious candied chestnuts called marron glacé.
This chocolate cream with glacé chestnut and raspberries is to die for.
First, I heat 60 milliliters of milk and 80 milliliters of cream in a saucepan. I pour the preparation over 100 grams of the superb Valrhona cooking chocolate and stir until very smooth.
It is a chocolate used by many of the world's top chefs.
Next, I pour the chocolate cream into 4 molds. I top with 5 small pieces of glacé chestnuts and allow to cool. I fill the cavity of some raspberries with a little raspberry jam and diced with icing sugar. Just before serving, I decorate the chocolate preparation with the raspberries and a whole glacé chestnut. This crème au chocolat et marron glacé aux framboises is simply too good. Olivier Samin, one of the Ardèche's most talented chefs, likes to use ingredients from nearby growers and producers. The strawberries are in season, and a local farmer has invited us to taste the different varieties. They also grow potatoes, and Olivier can't resist harvesting a handful to taste them in a new recipe. Next, we visit Marc, a dedicated snail farmer, who looks after the process of raising the popular French specialty from conception to egg laying and to the caring of the eggs until the birth of the baby snails. The baby snails grow outdoors, nourished with green plants and cereals until they reach adult size. This tray of mature snails was slow cooked in a vegetable broth for 90 minutes. The snails are then packed in clean shells and garnished with batter, seasoned with garlic, shallots, parsley, and salt and pepper. In his restaurant, the Carré d'Alessius, Olivier prepares a superb creative cuisine.
Surtout en ce moment, on est sur le printemps, on a vraiment à portée de main, on a vraiment des produits exceptionnels. Donc c'est vraiment à nous d'aller les chercher et puis de les mettre en valeur dans notre cuisine.
In the kitchen, Olivier is a great chef and a superb leader. Each member of his team is totally concentrated on the task. Each movement is exact. Each dish is well constructed, offering a beautiful contrast of textures and flavors. And each dish looks so appetizing. His young dessert chef uses the strawberry we collected earlier to assemble an impressive fruity dessert. And his Valrhona chocolate and coffee dessert is just as stunning and so delicious.
Tomorrow I'm traveling down the Saône River to discover the specialties of the region. This is the magnificent Saône River between Burgundy and the great city of Lyon.
Lyon is famous for its gastronomy. The saucisson de Lyon is a specialty that local chefs cook in a brioche dough to create the much-loved saucisson en brioche. The slopes of the Saône Valley are the home of the attractive Beaujolais wine region. One of the best wines is called Moulin à Vent, after the famous 15th century windmill in the village of Romanèche-Torin. The vines are planted densely in narrow rows in rocky soil.
Here you are in Château Portier.
Denis Chastel-Sauzet is the vigneron of Château Portier.
Moulin à Vent, it's a gamay, of course, so it's a wine with a lot of flavor, a lot of fruity, but also it's a wine that you can keep for 15 to 20 years. So Gabriel, we are coming here in the cellar of the 17th century.
The wines mature in wood for 8 to 24 months in dark caves.
And here it was where we keep the bottles for quite a long time, 3 to 4 years.
The caves are also open to the public to visit. It is a privilege to taste this wine nicknamed the Lord of Beaujolais. The 2006 vintage has a splendid robe and rich bouquet.
It's very classy, I could drink it every day.
The locals love this dip of fresh cheese with herbs, and it's easy to make. First, I mix some fresh cream cottage cheese with a little crème fraîche. Next, I add salt, pepper, some red wine vinegar, a little olive oil, chopped garlic, chopped shallots, parsley and chives, and mix gently until it's well combined. The secret of this beautiful dip is that the cream cheese must be very fresh, but also the shallots and the parsley and the chive must be cut very finely. I like to serve this delicious dip with warm baked potatoes cut in half. I now understand why the Lyonnais people are so fond of la cervelle de canut. Yum! Housed in an elegant chateau near Lyon, the Paul Bocuse Institute is a top international hospitality school created by Paul Bocuse, the legendary 90-year-old French chef, and Gérard Pélisson, the co-author of the Accor Hotel Group. The Institute welcomes foreign tourists to cooking classes by a bilingual French chef. The Institute's main role is to teach young French and international students all the skills necessary to run a successful restaurant and hotel. Alain Lecossec is the talented head chef of Saison, the haute cuisine restaurant of the Institute.
Nos étudiants viennent du monde entier, 35 nationalités, donc c'est vrai qu'ils viennent ici pour apprendre la cuisine française. Après, donc, on va leur enseigner toutes les bases de cette cuisine. Donc, pendant 3 ans, on va les amener à un niveau de technique et de connaissances culinaires qu'ils vont pouvoir recréer dans leur pays et développer à partir de là toutes leurs connaissances et faire de la créativité.
The dishes look beautiful and appetizing, and the young waiters are learning the elegant choreography of serving. It's a pleasure to watch. Tomorrow I am in the region of Brest to discover its famous chicken. This is Le Monastère Royal de Brou, a stunning monastery in the town of Bourg-en-Bresse. The specialty of the region is the poulet de Bresse, a free-range chicken with the reputation of being one of the finest in the world. The breed is protected and can only be bred in this region. The handsome chicken is often seen as a symbol of the quality of French produce. Christophe Vuillot is the most dedicated farmer.
Ce produit, il est élevé en plein air. Il a 10 mètres carrés de parcours herbeux, nourri aux céréales, maïs et blé.
The great-looking chicken also feast on worms and insects from the rich grass.
Ces volailles, elles ont la chance de parcourir pendant 16 semaines dans nos parcours, minimum.
Back at the farmhouse, Christophe gives the final touch to the poulet before he sells them by attaching the labels of origin and quality. This flavorsome chicken dish is very popular in France. I first browned some chicken pieces in a little oil and butter, seasoning with a little salt and pepper. Then I add some diced onion, a bay leaf, and a few sprigs of rosemary. Next, I add some diced bacon, stir together and cook for a few minutes. I deglaze with half a glass of Macon Chardonnay before adding a handful of baby mushrooms. The dish is covered with foil and a lid and cooked on low heat for about 30 minutes. The smell in the kitchen with this dish is amazing. Meanwhile, heat a little oil in a heavy pan and cook 3 cubed potatoes for about 15 minutes until almost done. Transfer the potatoes to the chicken, mix gently together and cook for a further 5 minutes to combine the wonderful flavors. Voilà, poulet cocotte grand-mère, one of my children's favorite French dishes. The market of Bourg-en-Bresse is a fun place to be on Saturday morning. The freshly made crepes are tempting, but have work to do. A trout farmer sells small fish for frying and frog legs, traditionally popular in this region. And naturally, the market rôtisserie has been fired up for takeaway roasted poultry. The cheesemonger is one of the busiest stands. The region is very famous for 2 blue cheese, Le Bleu de Bresse, well known all over the world, a pasteurized cheese, creamy, very popular, but the best is the Bleu de Gex. It's a 7-kilo cheese, cow's milk, made with unpasteurized milk, absolutely splendid. A little smooth, a little sharp, magnificent. The charcuteries, including the smoked sausage of Morteau, are rustic. The medieval-looking deboned veal head are still a much-loved dish with the elders. These chicken mousse quenelles, a great classic of the region, look light and succulent. Tomorrow we arrive in Bern in Switzerland to discover a great cheese specialty. This is the city of Bern, the splendid capital of Switzerland. The historic town center is one of the most stylish I have seen in Europe. In the main street, the confiserie Chiren has a very tempting display of cakes and chocolates and sells the classic Swiss creation, the carrot cake. You cannot come to Switzerland without tasting the chocolate. They really know how to make it. The friendly Saturday market is a popular outing for the Bernese. It is the ideal place for me to discover the gourmet specialties. The breads and large brioche are going fast. The butcher sells many cuts of veal, one of the most popular meat in Switzerland. Switzerland is synonymous with great cheeses. Just think of Gruyère, raclette, and the very popular Emmentaler. The Green Valley of Emmental, half an hour from Bern, is where the big cheese of this tour must be made to obtain a protected appellation of origin. The Dorfkäserei, a typical family-run fromagerie of the village of Dürrenroth, receives milk every morning and afternoon from local farmers. 900 liters of unpasteurized milk are needed to make a single 100 kilo Emmental wheel. Once salted in a large bath, the fresh cheese is kept in a room at 20 degrees for 2 months to encourage the gas inside the cheese to form the famous Swiss cheese holes. Christina, the assistant cheesemaker, gets an idea of the cheese condition by tapping the cheeses with a special tool. This cheese has been aged for 3 months and is ready to eat. Aging the Grand Fromage longer results in harder but superbly tasted cheeses, perfect as part of a mixed cheese platter. This Swiss creamy veal dish with potato roasty is famous all around the world. I peel and grate a boiled potato and mix it with a little onion, salt and pepper. I slice a few mushrooms and cut some veal tenderloin into thin slices. In a small fry pan, I heat a little oil and butter. I press the potato mixture in the pan to an even layer about 1 centimeter thick and cook it on each side for a few minutes. Next, I brown the veal in a little oil and butter and transfer it to a plate. The key is not to overcook the veal. I then add 2 tablespoons of chopped onion and sliced mushrooms to the pan, cook for a few minutes, and transfer the mushrooms to the plate with the veal. Add a little dry white wine to the pan, add some cream, and simmer for a couple of minutes. The veal and mushrooms are briefly reheated in the sauce. I place the roasty in the center of the plate and spoon the veal and the sauce around. It's better served with chopped parsley. Voilà, the Swiss classic of veau sauté aux champignons et roasté. Next, we are in the Valais region in the French part of Switzerland to taste the local specialties. This is the very beautiful Valais region in the French part of Switzerland. It is my first visit to this attractive region that produces world-class wines. I am taken for a walk in the stunning Bonvin vineyards by its owner, André Darbelay.
You see our vineyards are very steep and we are working with hand, so no mechanization.
I am offered the taste of a gold medal white that contributed to Bonvin being elected Swiss Winery of the Year in 2014.
Petit Tard is a native grape variety coming from the Roman period, so a very old variety with low harvest but a very nice personality.
This is a very beautiful wine.
Thank you.
André's fruity and full-body red, named 1858, is also outstanding. A superb board of the traditional regional charcuteries welcomes guests in the rustic winery restaurant. Visitors come here to taste the famous Swiss dish of raclette, named after the local cheese. The raclette is a celebration meal to share between several people, as you need half a wheel of a young cheese to prepare the dish. The cut side of the half wheel is placed under a tabletop grill, and the resulting melted cheese is scraped from the unmelted part of the cheese onto a plate and served with baby pickled onion, gherkins, and boiled potatoes. The melted cheese needs to be eaten as soon as it is served, while still hot. It's very delicious. The charcuteries are enjoyed between serves. The local fondant white wine is a perfect match. This stunning cucumber and trout terrine is a delicious dinner party entree. In a bowl, I mix 2 tablespoons of sea salt with 3 peeled, seeded and diced cucumber and put aside for 1 hour. Then I drop 8 gelatin leaves in a large bowl of cold water and leave to soften for 10 minutes. Next, I rinse the drained cucumber on the cold water before blending it to a puree. I season with 4 tablespoons of finely sliced dill, the juice of half a lemon and some pepper. I mix the drained gelatin with 1 cup of slightly warm crème fraîche, then mix it with the cucumber puree. I line the base of an oiled ring tin with thin slices of hard-boiled egg and ladle 1/3 of the cucumber on top. I then top with a layer of smoked trout, then a layer of cucumber, another layer of trout, and lastly one of cucumber. I cover with plastic film and refrigerate for about 6 hours. It is important not to be impatient with the setting time, and it is probably better to make it the day before you need it. Serve this lovely terrine de truite fumée au concombre, garnish with a few sprigs of dill and some cut chives. Tomorrow I am in the Savoie-Mont Blanc region of the French Alps to discover a delicious cheese. I am thrilled to have reached the Savoie-Mont Blanc region of the French Alps. Early morning and every evening, the 120 goats of the Farm des Cabrettes in Salange are milked for the production of one of the most delicious but little-known alpine cheeses called chevrotin. Dominique, the cheesemaker, is very dedicated and makes the little wash-rind fromage with unpasteurized milk twice a day, 7 days a week. The molding of the curd using cloth over rings is fascinating, and the shaping of the young cheese requires experience. A kilo weight is placed on the newly formed cheeses for a few hours to remove excess moisture. The white goat cheese is then kept on a board in a cool place.
Il faut environ 3 litres de lait pour faire un fromage de 300 grammes. Ce fromage doit rester sur l'exploitation pour affinage dans nos caves 3 semaines.
The cheese is turned regularly for even maturation. Once ripe, the chevrotin is placed on a thin ring of wood made from a spruce tree and wrapped for good keeping. It is only my second time of tasting this artisan cheese.
Il est juste comme il faut pour le déguster.
J'aime beaucoup. The goats have done their job and are taken up the mountain for a treat of fresh grass and flowers. Down in the town of Salange, the Saturday Farmers Market is a delightful alpine experience of many regional specialties, and it is a thrill to see the stand of La Ferme des Chevrettes selling the chevrotin. I buy a slice of locally braised ham and tiny roast potatoes for my lunch. The morel mushrooms from the forest are just in season. I can imagine yabbies hiding under the rocks of the fast-flowing Arve River. These yabby and truffle turnovers are a special occasion treat. I begin by cooking a chopped shallot in batter and stir in half a tablespoon of vinegar and a mix of carrots, celery and mushrooms, all cut into fine julienne strips. Season with salt and pepper and cook until the vegetables are just done. Next, I gently mix in some cooked yabbies, then transfer to a dish to cool. I brush the edge of 4 thin rounds of puff pastry with a little egg yolk and spoon 2 yabbies and some cooked vegetables in the center of the pastry.
topped with a good pinch of small truffle sticks.
Together with the vegetables, the truffle adds a magic touch to this dish.
I fold the pastry to trap the filling inside. I seal the edges, brush the top with some egg yolk, and make a light crisscross pattern on top using a fork. It takes about 20 minutes to cook in the oven at 200 degrees. These chaussons d'écrevisse aux truffes are amazingly delicious.
Tomorrow we are still in the Savoie-Mont Blanc region to discover the delicious charcuteries. This is the very chic alpine town of Megève in the Savoie-Mont Blanc region. It is a charming destination with superb architecture and relaxing atmosphere. Situated at 1,000 meters of altitude, the nearby village of Flumet is home of Saveur des Alpes, one of the best artisan charcuterie shops in the area. The house-made smoked and cured ham are looking good. The rustic pork salami, shaped in natural casing, have the reputation to be outstanding. And some are flavored with cheese, nuts, spirits and blueberries. I was offered a taste of the cured ham that was matured for a year. Beautiful flavors, a great ham from the Alps. Merci, c'est très bon. This blueberry mousse is an outstanding modern alpine dessert. In a pan, I first place the juice of 1 lemon with 100 grams of sugar and half a vanilla pod before adding 400 grams of blueberries to simmer for 5 minutes. Next, I press half of the blueberries through a fine strainer and whisk 10 grams of gelatin into the warm puree. The amazing color and flavor comes from the skin of the berries. I beat 2 egg whites with a pinch of cream of tartar into stiff peaks, then fold in 50 grams of sugar. I gently mix 100 milliliters of whipped cream into the cool blueberry puree and fold in the egg whites. Next, I carefully pipe a little of the mousse into 6 glasses and refrigerate for at least 6 hours to set. Just before serving, I top each mousse with the remaining blueberry compote. This very light mousse au myrtille is delicious served with macarons. La Maison Carrier has a fabulous farmhouse decor and serves very good Savoy cuisine. Pierre Carrier is a 4th generation restaurateur in Chamonix.
Moi, j'ai souhaité continuer à faire cette cuisine parce que c'est une cuisine que j'avais appris avec mon père et que j'aimais beaucoup. Une cuisine traditionnelle de pays.
At the center of the restaurant, the wood-fired rotisserie sets the mood. The first order of the day is a rack of lamb that will roast slowly for 20 minutes. Above the rotisserie, the giant farmhouse chimney is still in use for drying a selected range of small goods. A thinly sliced selection is given to guests as a welcome nibble. I have ordered a house-made black pudding served with a bacon, pear and potato concoction. It's memorable. Cheese, especially during the winter months in the mountains, is an important part of peasant food.
Mais on a aussi ici cœur à garder des beaux fromages.
The selection on the restaurant platter is exclusively alpine. The appetizing dessert selection sitting on several levels of a turning old wooden farm tool is the best example of French family desserts that I have seen on this tour. I almost tasted them all for you. Tomorrow we meet one of the finest chefs of the Alps. A magnificent group of chalets in the Vallée de l'Arve in the Savoie-Mont Blanc region of the French Alps. Under the snowy peaks and the high pine forest, the rich green pastures are an ideal food source for the attractive local breed of Abondance cows. Their milk is used to make several exceptionally good cheeses, including Reblochon, one of France's favorites.
This popular alpine potato dish called tartiflette is traditionally made using Reblochon cheese. First, I cut cooked potatoes into slices. I cook 2 finely sliced onions in batter for a few minutes before adding some bacon. After a little while, I add the potatoes, season with salt and pepper, and reheat. I then transfer the preparation to a battered oven dish and drizzle 4 tablespoons of crème fraîche on top. I cut the tasty cheese in half horizontally, then in half vertically, and place it skin side down on top of the potatoes. I pour half a glass of dry white wine into the dish before baking it in a hot oven for about 10 minutes.
This dish is at its best when the cheese has just melted on top of the potato gratin, but it must not dry.
Serve hot, sprinkle with chopped parsley. This tartiflette au reblochon smells so good and is truly irresistible.
The century-old hotel, Hameau Albert Ier in Chamonix, is home of one of the Alps' best restaurants. Owner chef Pierre Maillet spoils his guests with his superb cooking. A glance at the dessert trolley full of superbly prepared pastries is enough to make me wish I could stay in this place for a few weeks.
Perrine, mon épouse et moi-même sommes la 5e génération. Ma cuisine, je pense qu'elle est plutôt classique, inspirée des produits locaux. Et on a brisé un peu les frontières et on s'approvisionne aussi en Italie, parce que c'est juste de l'autre côté du Mont Blanc.
Pierre's elegant cuisine is reflected in this asparagus dish. His signature dish is duck glazed with local pine honey and is served with a polenta ravioli filled with confit duck leg. It's perfectly cooked, tender and delicious. Another of his classic dishes is the outstanding freshwater fish called ferra, served with heirloom baby carrots and a line of confit lemon paste. A double-deck trolley is a showcase of the best and perfectly mature alpine cheeses. Fromage are my weakness, and this tour is almost finished. It's dessert time. I have a last look at the trolley, but Pierre's dessert chef is already preparing for me a soufflé flavored with the wonderful herbal liqueur of green chartreuse made in the Alps. It is smartly served on a silverware socle. A very light runny Grand Chartreuse custard is delicately poured in the center of the soufflé, and a smooth Grand Chartreuse ice cream is an ideal accompaniment. This tour has spoiled me.
Tomorrow we'll be in Paris and we will meet a great chef. It is a great pleasure to be in Paris to celebrate the last stage of our gourmet adventure.
Paris is a joy to my senses. I like to revisit my favorite street and take time to sit at a typical Parisian cafe to savor a croissant. Right in the heart of Paris since 1760, the Grand Véfour is an historic restaurant and a gem of the 18th century decorative art. Napoleon Bonaparte enjoyed dining here. Guy Martin, the owner, is one of the most poetic and passionate French chefs.
Pour moi, la cuisine, c'est vraiment un langage. Elle n'a pas de tabou, elle n'a pas de frontières. Ce sont des notes comme la musique. Ce qui est vraiment important, c'est le respect. Respect du produit, respect du paysan, de l'éleveur, du cultivateur, du pêcheur. À moi de donner le meilleur après avec ma cuisine.
Guy's dishes are sophisticated, with the vegetables often the star. My dish of roast monkfish with radish and black rice is music to my palate. This artistically presented veal dish with lemongrass and pine nuts is perfectly cooked. His desserts are fruity and playful. This chocolate box filled with summer fruits and sorbets adds to the magic of this place.
Et quand les clients repartent avec le sourire, c'est le plus beau compliment de la terre pour moi.
This superb last meal in France, in such an amazing setting, has brightened my heart. Very good. The raspberry millefeuille is a classic French dessert. First, I lay some puff pastry on a baking tray lined with baking paper. I prick the pastry with a fork, dust it with caster sugar, then bake at 200 degrees for about 10 minutes. Next, I press down a bit with a rack to help prevent the pastry from rising too much, and cook it for 5 minutes more. I then remove the rack and turn the pastry out onto a second baking tray lined with baking paper. I dust the top of the pastry with icing sugar and bake in the oven at 250 degrees. I cut the cold pastry into 3 long strips, then cut each strip into 6 equal rectangles. I pipe a little bit of cream in the center of 2 of the pastry rectangles. The cream won't make the pastry soggy because it is caramelized. I garnish with raspberries, then place one on top of the other. Top with an ungarnished pastry rectangle and dust with icing sugar. These millefeuilles aux framboises are so good. It has been a privilege for me to present Taste Le Tour 2016 from so many stunning French regions, but also from Switzerland and Andorra. My native country is blessed with climates and terroirs, allowing the cultivation and making of amazing foods. It was a joy to meet creative modern chefs that constantly take the art of French cooking to new dimensions. I am so grateful to all the dedicated artisans I met, and I salute them for living with me unforgettable taste memories. So until next year, merci, vive la France, and au revoir.